Welcome to another episode of Horror Never Dies. This is season 2, episode 4, The Sounds of Horror. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate everybody that pulled up last week. Had a big episode. The second most watched live stream on the channel. Probably going to be the most watched as time goes on. So I appreciate everybody that, checked out the replay and was checking it out live. Shouts to the people checking it out live or just catching us on the replay now. This is going to be a bit of a shorter episode. Don't got too much to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about a little bit of the Speak No Evil remake and kind of giving our thoughts about that movie. Is it better than is it better than the original? We're going to talk about that, and also just the theme of this episode is the sounds of horror, talking about different music within horror movies and just shows. I had made a list on my TikTok not too long ago, um, talking about my top 10 favorite lists, and I also got like honorable mentions as I was thinking about it. We're going to talk about that to kind of end things off, and those two things is all I have going tonight. So let me bring in my guest. What up, Rashad?
Hey, it was good, fam. What's good with you?
Chilling, chilling. Let me put this down real quick. How you doing, bro?
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yep, perfectly.
All right. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm actually in a really good mood tonight because I just got done watching Transformers 1, and holy shit, was that a good time.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to see that, but then I was just like, they got this new anime coming out next month called Dan to Dan.
Okay.
And they put out the first 3 episodes in theaters. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go see that. And I'm gonna see the early fan event, whatever, for IMAX because I was like, I'd rather see that in IMAX than just regular. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be in IMAX and Dolby and whatnot on the
Yeah, well,
18th.
that's what I wish they would have did. Yeah, because tonight was it was like early screening for the fans or whatever, but it was just in the regular, I wish they
Yeah,
would have did Dolby and IMAX because yeah, that movie is like beautiful looking. Like even for the screen I saw it on, it was just beautiful looking and just. I was surprised. I didn't think it was going to be that good, to be honest. I was going to skip it, and then I saw Q's
mm,
reaction to it, and Q was like raving
yeah,
about it. So let me see what this shit's about. And
yeah. A lot of
oh
people have been enjoying that movie. You know what I'm saying? And it's
yeah,
just like they say, like, yeah, the trailers did not do that movie justice, but
nah,
I'm definitely gonna be reviewing that. Look out for that. But
cool.
talking about this horror stuff, you saw Speak No Evil, correct?
Yes, yes, I did.
Have you seen the original?
No, but people have been telling me about it. They said I need to watch the OG.
Oh man, let me bring this up real quick so people know what we're talking about. Um, the question is Speak No Evil remake better than the original? A lot of people really like this new take on the original film, but I'm on the opposite side where the more I think about this movie, the more I don't like it. Nothing against like James McAvoy. I think he's the only standout to be honest. And the chick that plays was it Louise?
The one
The
that played his
the
wife,
mom,
or the other mom.
the other mom and stuff like that. Those two are like the highlights, but where it falls apart for me. Well, I'll get into that. But what did you think about it? Like just kind of going into it, not knowing about it being a remake and whatnot.
Well, kind of like you said in your video, man. I've seen the trailer so much where I feel like I've seen the movie already,
Hmm.
but the trailer did do a good job because they did leave some stuff out that I didn't know that was going to be in there. So oh shit, okay, they pulled a twist on me here. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a full crowd, so that probably added to it. And
Hmm.
it was I laughed more than anything. I thought it was comical, but then there was moments of tension building where it was like uncomfortable and awkward, and I know that's what they were going for to give you that kind of awkward feel. Like, okay, this guy, he's nice, but he's very unhinged, and you can tell, like,
Yeah,
you can see something's not right with this motherfucker, And then when everything kind of comes crashing down, you're like, oh shit, and the payoff I thought worked really good too. kind of gave the ending kind of gave me Friday the 13th final chapter vibes. You
And
know,
that's my biggest issue is that third act, man, because it's like, yeah, it was good, but when you watch the original, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Why, like, yeah, it doesn't. But at the same time, because some people didn't like the original because it was dark and bleak and stuff, but it's just like, bro, we need more of that in horror. Where it doesn't,
okay, yeah.
where it's like it seems like the ending is more of like a cop out, in
Well,
my
okay. So
opinion.
did you see? Because I watched Double Toaster's review on this movie, and what they said, what Corey said about the original was that yeah, it's darker, it's bleaker, but he said the OG was a better movie, but it's like a one time watch. It's one of those where it's so disturbing where you can only like need to watch it just one time. You know what I'm saying? Whereas
I
this,
mean, I feel like it's like when you compare these two, it's like I think I mentioned this in my review. It's like you're playing a video game and you have a like kind of like a multiple choice type of ending where
mm-hmm,
you either like you go down this route and you get the bad ending, or you get the good ending, or the dark ending, or the happy ending. It's sort of like that. That's how I kind of look at it. And when you watch it, it's literally the same movie, just certain dialogue or just certain things are changed, or they add little stuff here and there. James McAvoy really elevates that character from the original better,
right,
but it's just it's like they put the kid gloves on because it's something about Western audiences that you see this with even Terrifier or something like when Evil Lurks, that like certain people they get uncomfortable with certain things, but I feel like that's
right,
the whole fucking point of the movie. So when you take that away, it's just like you kind of just made a generic movie, you know. And I recommend like after the stream you go check it out. Like I know it's gonna have subtitles and stuff like that. It kind of goes back from subtitles to English and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
It's
no,
a
I'm
shorter
definitely checking
movie.
it out. Yeah, I'm definitely yeah, because I've
Y-
had multiple people say like, yeah, you got to watch the original. But I just to add to what you're saying real quick, yeah, that's what separates foreign horror movies from Western is that foreigners don't give a fuck. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like they don't care, like whether they're gonna offend you or how you're gonna listen. They make the movie that they want to make, as shocking as they want to make it, and that's why 9 times out of 10, unless you can name one, usually the foreign version is always better than the American version. Like for example, like
Mhm.
let the right one in, and then they did
Yeah.
one like Let Me In. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Yeah.
night and day. You know the
They were
rain and the
trying to
rain.
do.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is still on the table. They were trying to do like a Train to Busan American version. I was like, no,
mm-hmm.
don't do that,
Right.
because like I said, like the things that people will say they don't like about the original is what makes the original special and unique
Yeah.
and stand out. Doesn't make it generic. That it's like it's willing to kind of push you over that edge and stuff like that. Because like I said, when you watch the original, it's just like, damn, how much like they really just the only thing really different from it is that third act, really. But
Yeah. Nah, yeah, I'm gonna definitely check it out and do a comparison video probably because, but I mean, but for what this was, I mean, I enjoyed it. Man. I thought it was a fun, popcorn movie that and I wouldn't even call it a slow burn. Like I said in my video, I said the movie took its time with the tension building, but I didn't feel
yeah,
like it was
yeah.
a slow burn because like the whole time I was never bored. Like I was, even when it's a relaxing moment, I'm still on edge because it's like, what is this? What is this guy gonna do? And he's constantly
Mhm.
challenging your boy's manhood. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the husband
yeah.
was such a bitch ass, and James McAvoy kept like challenging him. You know what I mean? And testing his manhood to see how far he could take it with him. And dude bitched up every time. And
Yeah, it's pretty much the same like in the original. Like the characters are
yeah,
essentially the same. I'll give the remake credit is the characters that you follow. They're still dumb, but they're dumb with some type of like um they have some type of wit to them, which
right.
when I think about it, it's just like, man, they had the perfect opportunity in this movie to kind of really think that you had it all figured out. Like, oh man, it's gonna go this way,
Mm-hmm.
and it completely subverts your expectations. I know people hate that phrase, but Man,
Yeah,
there's so
I
many
would.
opportunities where they could have completely switched this whole thing. I would have even switched up the whole entire movie because with James McAvoy, there's just something that you could have done differently. I'm thinking about like a completely different movie they could have done here to really make this stand out compared to the original.
Yeah, well, they do some. Well, not to go too much into spoilers here, but they do like like there's tropes in these kind of movies where okay, you're stuck in this situation, and this person that has you here is not going to let you leave. You know, what I'm saying where here it's like no, you're free to go ahead, you know, bye. But then of course something happens where like damn, they can't leave, even though they were given permission, but it's like you can't go anywhere, and I'm like fuck. I got frustrated a couple of times, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. I wish I could name the exact moment, but it has something to do with the daughter. The daughter does something, and I'm like, man, if y'all don't like Perk, that couldn't have been a black family. I'm sorry. Like, if you're in the back seat, if my child's in the back seat cutting the fool, and we trying to get up out of there, and we can't, I'm gonna backhand your ass. Like, if you don't sit the fuck down, and you know how black mamas do, Perk, when they do, if you don't sit your ass, I'm gonna whoop you. And they're like,
Yeah,
okay, I guess
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yo, and as much as people hate race swaps and everything, but like this, having a race swap here would have worked. You have a black family, you know what I'm saying, and you could have done some blackening stuff, and even you could have even turned this into a bit of a comedy or dark comedy and stuff in certain
Yep,
aspects, but having like a black couple would have been completely different because you're like, yo, they're going to react completely different from like the
totally
original
different.
cast and stuff, and it could still go back. It could still go kind of the similar way. I think the dumbest like kind of plot device in this was the whole daughter with the doll shit, like with the fucking rabbit.
Okay,
I
well,
just think that was so
I was
stupid.
gonna wait for you to say it. Okay, yes, that shit. All right, yeah,
That shit
pissed
never
me
made sense. That
off.
didn't make sense. That didn't make sense in the original. It doesn't make sense in this one. But it's just like
Mhm.
you have to move the plot forward, I guess. But they could have even done something different with that.
You should have seen me, dog. I was in the theater, man. When that part happened, I actually said it out loud. I didn't even realize I said it out loud until a couple people laughed. I said, man, I was like, man, fuck that rabbit. I said it just like that, man. A couple people started laughing. Then I was embarrassed, of
Instead
course,
of
afterwards. Like, oh, I should have said that.
instead of the rabbit, you could have just. It would have been equally stupider, but I feel like just for it being an Americanized version, if
Hmm.
they would have switched the rabbit for like a cell phone, that would have made more sense. It's like, oh, I have this attachment to this screen, and you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying, and that would have
and
like what I'm saying. At least it would have fit the times.
and you know what? And to the to Patty, that was his name, right? Patty, the James McAvoy
Yeah.
character. You know, I was conflicted with him because he has some ideals that I agree with. You know what I'm saying? Like he reminds me of like a Johnny Lawrence. He's like, an alpha, a man's man, you know what I'm saying? Like he's old school, get your hands dirty. We don't, I'm not part of this social media shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, like
Hmm.
there were times where I'm like, I like this dude. Okay, I can have a beer with this guy, but then he'll do something, and I'm like, okay, bro, okay, I can't fuck with you on that one, man. Okay, I was with you. I was with you until you did that. Now I'm like, okay, bro, yeah, you on your own with that one. So he was kind of, I guess
Hmm.
you can call like a complex character because
Yeah.
on the surface, on one hand, he's charming, he's likable. You can relate to him, and just sometimes where you're like, damn, yeah, I agree with you, bro. But then when he goes off the rails, he goes off the fucking rails, and you're like, all right, bro, that's
I
it.
would have, I would have liked that also. Something that would have switched it up from the original is the way that Patty was manipulating Ben. I would
Mm-hmm.
have like to see it play out like a Shining, where he's actually kind of getting through to Ben, and Ben's kind of like switching sides a little bit, and it gets pretty dark, for that family.
But
Something
he,
like
but
that.
he,
That
he
would be
was
cool.
though. But he was kind of a little bit right. Like there was. I mean, there was a moment where he was kind of. Well, Patty, you could see he had his influence on him.
Yeah, yeah. Because when his wife was like, when they're at the dinner table or some shit like that, and the wife was like, "Oh yeah, we don't have sex," I'm like, "Yo, I'd have been mad as fuck. Like,
Yeah,
why are you putting all our business out like that?" Like, but you know, there are certain things I'll be curious to see how you feel about the original. Definitely recommend checking it out and let me know your thoughts and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
definitely,
to, for,
definitely.
but for me to kind of close things out, like for this is, I just feel like I'm glad that people enjoy the remake because Blumhouse needed something like this. I just still don't think it really moves the needle for them
Hmm.
because the next movie is probably going to be a dud. Which is their, I think their next movie
The
is the
Wolfman.
Wolfman. Yeah, so they're kicking off next year again. So I don't know. So it'll be time will tell. We'll see what they're gonna do with 2025 because they have Five Nights at Freddy 2 coming out. I didn't really like the first one, but it made them a shit ton of money. The Wolfman's gonna make them a shit ton of money. They're probably gonna make a shit ton of money off of this. And what was interesting is like the budget compared to the original. This one was like 15 million,
Hmm.
and which is crazy. And then the original was only 3 million. It's
Oh wow.
almost essentially the same movie. But pretty much that big budget probably comes from just like just James McAvoy and stuff like that, and just getting some of these well known faces and stuff like that. That probably just comes down to the casting.
Yeah, I mean his like kind of similar to the front room, like his performances alone is worth the price of admission. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought he knocked it out the park, man. And dog, like when did he get so jacked? James McAvoy is
Yeah,
fucking that guy is huge now, man. Like I'm like he could play Wolverine
or Batman or somebody and
or
something like
Batman or
that.
something. Yeah, like this guy, like James McAvoy will fuck you up now.
I was thinking about that when I was watching the one Batista movie. I was like, yo, watch James Gunn make Batista Batman for the DC. That's a whole other
Yeah.
conversation, but that's just my overall thoughts on Speak No Evil. Let me know how you
Mhm.
guys feel about it in the comments below. I also have a review out. Go check that out as well. Rashad has a review out. Go check his channel out,
Yes,
his
sir.
thoughts. And also go check out the original if you haven't yet. It's on Shutter. This is not it's not sponsorship or anything. It's just I highly recommend you go check it out for yourself and you might really enjoy it more than the original. So, you know,
Mm.
it is what it is. So next up, um, to kind of get into the themes of things and whatnot. Let's see where this goes. Let me break
Mm.
this down real
The
quick.
romantic sounds of horror. Call now. We have two CDs, 24 tracks of the most lovely horror sounds that you'll ever hear. Call
19,
now.
1999, 19, what's that, 1999 plus shipping
Yeah,
and
should be
handling.
showing up.
Then we see the actual price is like 40 fucking bucks. Like, god damn, like, yeah, pretty much giving it away. So I made a list a while ago
Mm,
on my TikTok. Obviously, I can't play here because I don't want to get copyrighted or anything like
right,
that.
right.
And these are some of my favorite songs at heart. Some of my honorable mentions I was thinking about was like Tales from the Crypt,
Mm.
Child's Play. Um,
It's my like original
I
like
would
score, right?
scores or like theme songs to TV shows, something like
Okay,
just any type of music, and you know what I'm
okay.
saying, like background music or you know. But mostly this is just theme songs and stuff right now.
Mm,
These 10 are the ones I could just name off the top of my head because I feel like they're just that recognizable. Except for like Puppet Master, but I probably won't, you know. But I feel like it just has a catchy intro in either way. American
right.
Horror Story. I really like how that one sounds. It's like scratchy, and it just has a simple dum 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 dum. Just has a
Mm-hmm.
simple vibe going on with it. The Walking Dead. I feel like that's just one of those shows. You know
Yeah,
exactly what it is, not even having to be a fan of certain things. You
right.
just know, oh, I heard this theme song before, and it just becomes iconic over time and whatnot.
Okay.
What are some of your favorite themes?
A couple of them on this list. Elm Street definitely sticks out. Halloween for sure. Whether you like
Hmm.
Halloween or not, when you hear that theme, you know what it is. Psycho. I like the theme for Psycho because
Yeah.
it just kind of amps up the anxiety a little bit. Yeah, Tales from the Crypt. I like. Fright Night. because
Oh,
I think the '80s. I like the '80s, like the Sith. The
yeah,
'80s
yeah.
like
They got.
synth. The synth score or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Yeah.
I feel
So
like everybody kind of. I feel like everybody kind of bit off John Carpenter and stuff like that. And,
Halloween. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Oh, and
for sure.
Phantasm. Phantasm beat is so tight that even Mobb Deep took that shit and sampled it and gave us. You know what I'm saying? It gave
Yeah,
us well, what song? Damn, what song did they use to sample when they sampled Phantasm? Was it
I can't think
God?
of
God
something.
Five Part Three? No, that was Scarface. But I remember that they sampled Phantasm. Yeah, Phantasm is one of those that sticks out too.
Yeah, that's dope.
Mhm.
I was also thinking another honorable mention is Jaws. That's very notable. Like you just did.
Right. Yeah, Jaws.
Um,
Think about Jaws too. Jaws had a scared like that theme was scary. You know what I mean? But then it had an epic score too. You know what I'm saying? So you think about the dun, 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 and then when Chief Brody blows a shark up.
mhm.
That shit that shit like gets me pumped up when I hear that,
um, what's the face? Damn it.
about the Lost Boys.
Just yeah, Lost Voice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little obscure too. You know what I'm saying? Unless if you're like a huge horror fan. Another big one. What was it? It would just slip my mind. It'll come back to me, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Saw's another one I had to put up there. I think Saw has a fire theme song.
Oh yeah. Candyman.
Yeah.
Candyman has that church organ creepy theme to it.
hmm
Yeah.
Are You Afraid of the Dark has a really dope one with really dope visuals. Like once you hear it, you could automatically like picture
Hmm.
what's to being shown in the theme song. Like yeah, this like it has like this kind of blue hue all over it. All these creepy images like in this attic, and
Right.
you see like the sings set, and you see this clown. Just a lot of iconic imagery, you know, as a '90s kid that people will just be like, "Oh shit, I remember this, or remember that."
Right.
Obviously Puppet Master because it has this like kind of really slow burn, kind of slow start, and then it just gets more grander and grander and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Some other sounds too. It's like Friday the 13th, obviously with Jason's like that.
Yeah.
Like that sound iconic.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I was
Um.
trying to look at some other ones like the probably the worst one to me, and I don't know if this was like officially their theme song, but I looked up Scream's theme songs. It's like, yeah, this is not that good.
You said Scream.
Yeah, and I was
Oh,
like, I
okay.
didn't even know Scream had like a theme song, but
I didn't know either. Yeah, I didn't know they had a theme song
apparently,
either.
yeah, apparently
Uh,
it does. So it's just like, yeah, it really does nothing for me though. It's just like, damn, I wish it was a little bit more,
I
not
tell
all
you
over the
what.
place.
You know what? I would throw in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre in there too, because even though it's not quite a score per se, but the sounds in that movie was just got under your skin. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
It just has this kind of like, how now like they use that violin shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of like what Chainsaw Massacre did back then. It just every time you heard it, it just made your skin crawl.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I would throw Chainsaw in there too. The
Okay.
original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is some good ones. Yep.
Hmm.
Um, what's another good one? Brought up Child's Play. Child's Play has a pretty
Yeah,
good
Child's
theme song
Play.
because it's like
Yep.
because it has that almost like a lullaby nursery uh daycare kind of vibe to it. I
Hmm.
don't know. It's just some of those things that you go into like a doctor's office system like that. You're waiting and you hear this creepy ass music playing.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
vibe it gives me.
what about the Omen? The Omen had a chilling soundtrack too. The OG Omen.
I vaguely remember it, but yeah, I know it has like a kind of a dark kind of vibe to it. I think Rosemary's Baby also had an interesting
Mm-hmm.
theme song and music throughout.
Yeah, because the Omen had like scary music, but then it had like this choir in the background, kind of like so. Imagine a church choir, but being evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like.
What would you say has the best like theme song, like in your opinion? That's
Who
just like the most notable, or just even it could just be your favorite.
I gotta give it to Halloween, man. I gotta give it to
Yeah.
Halloween. Yeah, Halloween. Just that whole score was just perfect. Like it just fits. Like you could take the Halloween theme and like slap it on like any horror movie. It'll make it like you can. Matter of fact, you'll take Halloween theme song and put it like on Billy Madison, and Billy Madison would appear scary. Like that's how creepy that music was.
Yeah, I would say also it's another one. Thriller, Halloween,
Hmm.
and Monster Mash, I think, are like the staples for Halloween, just for the season.
Right.
Like you can't go in a store and not hear those three songs, or just some type of iteration of those songs being
Hmm.
played either in a store, people playing outside while they're giving out candy and stuff like that.
Right.
I think Thriller was really big, you know, not only just for horror, just music in general.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Thriller is always like that's my go-to for like if anybody's never like you're trying to get them into horror. I always say Thriller and the Lost Boys because like they're horror, but not like hardcore where it's gonna fucking traumatize them for life. But where I'm gonna tell you where I fucked up at is that I showed my daughter Thriller when she was 4, and she handled it like a G. So I said, well, shit, if she can handle Thriller, my puny ass brain. I said, well, she can handle Nightmare on Elm Street. So I made the mistake of going from Thriller to the OG Elm Street, and we got up to Tina's death scene, and I
That's
had to
a
turn it off.
Yeah, that's a huge leap, bro. That's a huge fucking leap. It was like, yeah, it's like, yeah, Thriller. Oh, I think you're ready for Terrifier. Like, let's watch it.
You know what? Canadian Miss had me doing some stupid shit back then, and to this day, my daughter brings it up in my face. So now she doesn't want me to traumatize her brother, so she tries to stop me from showing her brother, certain things. Like, no, you're not going to do him like you did me. I'm like, shut up, man. I introduced you to good cinema. Appreciate it. Acknowledge me.
Yeah, Elm Street was another good theme song that just really catchy and just you
Yeah.
hear it just sets the tone perfectly. You know, like what comes behind that theme song, Freddie,
Hmm.
and kind of just putting that theme song on when it's dark out like now and just driving around the
Yeah.
suburbs, like it's eerie. You know, it's eerie
Yeah.
just driving around the suburbs and listening to
Horror
horror
music.
themes. It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
kind of inspirational too because it kind of lets you paint a scene, or you could see like this kind of playing out, or you just get a lot of ideas. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh yeah, man. I drove around one time and I listened to the whole Elm Street, the whole score from beginning to end. And like you said, certain beats come, I can recite the scene where it happened. Like so, when Johnny Depp gets stuck through the bed, I was listening to that scene. I'm like, oh, that's when Johnny Depp got fucked up. And
mm,
it was just like just chilling, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like that whole soundtrack was ill.
yeah, and then like my third favorite is The Shining. You know,
Hmm.
like that opening scene, and automatically just always brings you to that opening scene where you just see that overhead shot of them driving to the hotel.
Right.
That dum 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 is
Hmm.
just very epic, very dark. Like this is not going to be a happy go lucky movie.
Yeah.
There's about to be some fucked up shit going down.
Yeah, but
Sets
yeah,
the
I
tone.
remember that. I remember that scaring me. Yep, I remember first hearing that opening score for The Shining. Like, ooh, I don't like how this makes me feel.
Yeah,
And what about
it is just
Oh, I'm
and,
sorry. Go
and
ahead.
even when they play it like because it was around the winter time too, so it was just kind of perfect because it just set that isolated tone perfectly. Like,
Hmm.
but go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say also. Carrie has, I think, a score that's
Oh,
underrated. Yeah, because the
fuck yeah.
whole Carrie score is is a little creepy, but to me, I think the crescendo where like the shit really kicks in when they they pour the blood on her and they
Yeah,
start
it
they're all
starts
gonna
off
laugh.
soft.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah, it
gonna
starts
laugh
off
at you.
soft. It starts off soft. That
Yep, yep.
almost like an ET movie, and then it just flips and just
It just
gets
goes
so dark.
dark.
I love that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
That was perfect.
I
It
remember
just it has
watching.
that
I remember
has
watching
that.
that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's I remember watching as a shorty, and when the blood got poured all over, I said, "Wait a minute, okay, this took a dark turn." And when that dark music kicked in, when she turned all the
Mhm.
lights off, and then you just see her
Right.
big ass eyes, it's like, doom. I said, "Oh, I
And
don't like
those
this."
like those shrieky violins that she's like turning her head and stuff like that and
Yeah,
go crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what that like music is very essential in horror movies, man. Like you can get some really dope things that are kind of like underrated. Like a lot of the music in Hereditary is dope. I've
hmm
mentioned like Terrifier 2 has a just an absolute crazy soundtrack that doesn't get talked about enough. That's just really
yeah,
good. Where they kind of have that 80s synth with like almost like a lo-fi type of vibe. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? A lot of things are kind of like in that synthesized kind of synth wave vibe, but also has like this has this like really epic and grandiose type of vibe. They got the vibey stuff, all types of different things in the Terrifier 2 soundtrack. Is really dope.
yeah. No, yeah, yeah. Terrifier definitely was a callback to that '80s synth sound that that we all grew up on for sure.
Yeah, and also my two favorites. You know, I like Halloween's theme more than Halloween itself because I just feel like
hmm
all the different, slightly different renditions have been really dope. It just very catchy, repetitive. But like I said, it's one of those theme songs that sets the tone perfectly and just encapsulates um just what Halloween is and just horror in general. You know, it was perfect.
That's a
But my
perfect example. That's a perfect example of how a score can really elevate a film. Because, like you say, if you take away, if you give Halloween any other score, the movie wouldn't be nowhere near as iconic as it ended up being. But that score really elevated the film big time.
right,
Yeah.
right. But my favorite theme, I really had to think about this. Not really, but by far is the best theme song in horror ever is the Goosebumps theme song. Like that shit
Oh
is
wow.
how it's creepy. Have you ever heard? You never probably heard it
I've never.
before.
I probably have, but I don't like. You'd have to hear it because I don't think I've ever watched Goosebumps.
I want you to do something real quick. Go listen to the Goosebumps theme song and come right back real quick.
All right.
Cause that joint that joint slaps. That joint slap crazy. Um
I'm gonna put this on mute, and I'm gonna give me about 15. I'm gonna pull it up and listen about 15 seconds of it, and I'm gonna come right back.
it's like a minute. You can listen to the whole joint. Like it's like a minute. And
Okay.
I'll just keep talking and
All
whatnot.
right.
But yeah, like the Goosebumps theme song to me is like the perfect blend of horror and like hip hop.
Mm.
Like at the time where everybody was pretty much like sampling different things, making drill beats out of different songs, and just weird like pop songs.
Yeah.
That shit just has a very like dark um hip hop type of vibe, like some horrorcore, or you can make a trap song out of it. You can make a drill. You could really go crazy with it, but just the way it changes and just people know exactly how that theme song goes, where you see the guy in the trench coat walking and you know all this paper falls out. It's all these different stories, and you see just all flashes of the actual show. It's great, great stuff, man. It's one of my favorite kids horror show to watch growing up for sure. Next to Are You Afraid of the Dark? and it just the bass lines, just everything kicks in that theme song. But these are my favorite theme songs, pretty much of all time, as it stands. And this might change over time, but these are the ones I can think of on top of my head. Give me 1 second, I gotta get a drink. But yeah, it's like I said, like I feel like sound is very essential to not just films, just horror movies, but films in general. You know, not only the score, the set or soundtrack, sound design. Like I brought up many times, like movies like Long Legs really do a great job of capturing that eeriness, that uncomfortable vibe that the music kind of gives off, the tone. Another one is like Oddity. Whenever you can get like some weird type of sound or something that just sounds disturbing, I think it just elevates whatever you're watching on screen for sure. I'm gonna be curious to see what he thinks about that theme song.
Okay, so it's catchy. Yeah, I couldn't put it over Halloween though, or or Elm Street. It's catchy though. It's a nice little beat, but nah, nah. I can't even put it over Tales from the Crypt. Mm-mm. Yeah, sorry. It's not a bad theme, but I just couldn't. Yeah, that's nothing that I'm gonna listen to and be like, that shit gave me chills. Like Elm Street gives me chills. Halloween gives me chills. Fright Night, those themes.
Yeah, I feel you, but it's just like that for me personally is just that shit just like makes me feel like a kid again when I'm getting ready to watch Goosebumps, gets me hyped, gets me pumped. You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's just something that it stands out. And like I said, like it has that perfect blend of like horror and hip hop. It has a very hip hop vibe to it. And that was a very big thing, like especially like in the '90s for kids shows. Like they dabbled a lot in the hip hop like kind of sounds and stuff like that.
I was gonna
And
say yeah. So yeah, I noticed in the '80s. Yeah, in the '80s, it was mostly like heavy metal, right? So like, if you take movie
mm,
like Dream Warriors, Dokken. I think that's how you say their name. They did the soundtrack to that, right? But then in part four, it had mostly a hip hop soundtrack. Which I
mm,
think for a franchise like Elm Street, I don't think hip hop really goes good with Freddy. Especially Dream
shit.
Child. Yeah, they had Dream Child. Kumo D had a song on the soundtrack, like in the end credits. I don't know.
Oh
I
shit.
think heavy metal. Yeah, heavy metal for some reason just works better with horror more than hip hop does.
Mm.
I mean, that's my
That
personal opinion.
Yeah, I can see that because like sometimes, but sometimes you get like Jordan Peele where he can just like he can flip certain things and just make it really creepy and eerie and stuff, and
That's
that's why
true.
I liked about that's why I really love about Goosebumps that it's just like it has this crazy piano and then it starts to switch up that dun 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 dun. You hear the dog barking and stuff, and people know that that's the dog when his eyes start to glow and shit like that, and just that it starts to get dun 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 dun. Viewers beware. So that shit just slaps. It sets the tone for the overall episode that you're about to watch really well and stuff. And I
Yeah,
think it'd
no,
be
yeah.
different if you grew up with it. I guess that's another thing too. Like depending on like the songs that you grow up with, though, they
Mhm.
resonated with you more and stuff on that. But
It just gets more. Yeah, yeah. Look. That's why I try to tell my daughter about the because like she listens to some of the hip hop that I listen to, and she's like, "Dad, this is boring." I said, "Shut up." All right, it's not boring. I said, "This is hip hop." All right, because
yeah,
one time she was with me, I was playing Illmatic, from Nas, one of the best hip
mhm.
hop albums of all time, and she was bored out of her fucking mind. I'm like,
It's crazy.
you just don't know shit
Yeah,
about hip hop. I'm like, get out my car.
yeah, and it's just crazy how like certain music and stuff just kind of resonates with people in different points and times in their lives and stuff like
Right.
certain '80s things like I could never like I respect, but I can't really can't really jive with that, or it just doesn't really hit for me per se. And I
Well,
can see that because like you got to kind of put yourself in her shoes. You know what I'm saying? What would you be
right.
listening to at that time?
Well, I don't. Well, shit. I like to be honest with you. I was that kid where when my mom would clean up the house and she would play certain music, I used to like it. I like my parents' old music, man. So when my pops would play shit like the Delphonics or the Shy Lights, like I was all in. You know, what I'm saying I'm just a music kid. But
Yeah,
everybody's different. But let me ask you a question. So, okay, let's say if you was making, let's say, okay, you're trying to make the perfect horror movie, right? And now you have to make the decision what kind of music you got to go with it. So, what do you think is the most effective like horror sound? Do you think it's the 80s synth, the creepy organs, like the creepy church
yeah.
organs,
I would,
heavy metal?
I would try to go with the '80s, but still kind of make it modern.
Yeah,
Um, Nothing contemporary, like nothing like nothing like not like a whole hip hop song or something like that. Just like a something traditional, just like a Elm Street or Halloween, something from scratch type shit.
right.
Um, I would go for that. Something because
Because
I'm always into like the darker kind of tones and stuff like that. So I would want that to kind of mimic what I'm going for and stuff like that. So I would
right.
go for the more '80s instrumental, um, almost like a what's that? Yeah, like more like a score. Like I would just go more for a score type of vibe and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there was like a small era in the '90s. I don't know if you remember this, man, but there was a small era in the '90s where they had it was like horror type hip hop, right? I don't. There was a name for it, and I'm probably fucking it up. But RZA was like over this shit. There was a group called the Grave Diggers. They was
You
before.
talking about horrorcore?
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I remember RZA had a group called the Grave Diggers, and they was they was popular for a minute, but it was like that horror rap. You know what I'm saying? Like it had that
yeah. That's the shit
terrifying
that
feel.
you. That's the shit they like Eminem for. Like, yeah, I cut my mom up, put her in the back trunk, and all
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
all that. I was never the biggest fan of like horrorcore and stuff like that, but it definitely had its audience.
yeah. Well, that's probably why it didn't last so long because the Grave Diggers had like one or two songs where because it was different, So he was like, "Damn, that shit was tight," but then it disappeared real quick, and that's when Wu Tang came out. So I guess RZA said, "Okay, this ain't happening. So let me stick with Wu Tang." And we never heard from Grave Diggers again.
Yeah, it's
That
just
was it.
it's definitely one of those like '90s, like late '90s, early 2000s type of thing. I think there's still a scene for that.
Hmm.
It's very niche. It's like that insane clown posse type of juggalo type of vibe, or just you have the
Right.
Hobsons stuff like that. The Tech Nines are still going crazy, but it's nowhere near not as much, not as popular as it was around that early 2000s and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Because it's one thing like to be a fan of horror and stuff like that, but like rapping about it can kind of come off corny. Some of the beats aren't as not really good most of the time. So
Yeah, so like I said, perfect example. I think Dream Child had more of a hit, was more hip hop than all of them. So I would say compare Dream
mhm.
Warriors to Dream Child. Dream Warriors because it had a metal soundtrack. Stayed with the tone of a Nightmare on Elm Street. And then you have Dream Child. You got Kumo D fucking rapping Houdini. Check yo dog like YouTube Houdini Elm Street 5. I forgot the name of the song, but they had a whole fucking video where they had Dancing Freddy's in the video. And
Mm.
I'm like, this shit, it just felt so out of place. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I probably wouldn't use as much as I love hip hop. I don't think hip hop belongs in horror though. I don't know if that's a hot take or what, but yeah,
Yeah,
keep hip hop out of
I
horror.
remember Terrence, like we were supposed talking like last week off air, and he brought up like Sweeney Todd, and I was just like, yeah, that's a dope way to kind of incorporate horror. Like, what I'm
Hmm.
saying, even doing musicals, I feel like that's kind of untapped. for the most part. Like I know there was this zombie apocalypse musical. I forget the fuck it was called, but you know, stuff like that is interesting. Like I would like to see like a musical slasher, like make
Mm.
Scream the musical.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
be
you could go really crazy with that. Like, it would definitely be a niche audience, but I feel like it'd be interesting.
shit. Come and think about it, yeah, I don't think we've ever had a slasher musical, huh?
Not that I
Or
could
like,
think of off the top of my head.
many horror musicals that I could think of. I mean, if you want to count Little Shop of Horrors, I don't know if that counts or not.
Yeah. Long legs. He's kind of long legs. He's a singer.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
Be
man, fuck
singing,
that
but
movie. Actually, no. Come and think about Little Shop of Horrors, bro. Like I know that's considered like a horror comedy or something, but have you ever watched the uncut version of that movie?
nah.
Yeah, so that Little Shop of Horrors had an alternate ending where the plants took over the world. Because I guess that was more true to the stage play. Because in the stage
Mm,
play, they had a plant one. So remember how in the original movie Rick Moranis killed the Audrey 2 and blew it
mm,
up or whatever, but and the director's cut, the plant ate the girl, ate Seymour, and then it produced all these other plants. And they took over the whole fucking planet, and
that's
like
crazy.
the soundtrack, the score during that scene was kind of creepy. Like I was like, this shit's kind of OD scary, man. You know what I'm saying? It even ends with the plant like busting through the projector screen, laughing as if like,
Right.
yeah, we took over the world. Yeah, get a chance, check that out, man. But
I'm gonna try to find that. I'm gonna try to find that because that's
yeah,
interesting.
because
I just feel
yeah,
like that's untapped right there. You know, I know people hate musicals, but I feel like if a musical's done well, you
mm-hmm,
know what I'm saying, like
it could work.
people can be into it. You know, there are good musicals. I think it's a genre that's a part of film that I feel like if you're into films, you should at least give every type of aspect or genre a
Right.
try because you never know what you're gonna like. So,
Right. And I just thought of this too, bro. So okay, so we're going over all the different sounds and stuff of horror. So I'm thinking of The Fly, right? The Fly had like a dope score, like a chilling score, but then sad at the same time. Like, so you know what I'm
mm,
saying? Like, can you think of a horror movie that ever like made you like want to cry almost? You know what I'm saying? The Fly went from
interesting.
terrifying. Yeah, The Fly went from terrifying to like tragic, where the ending, like you almost wanted to shed a tear at the end. And not many horror movies do that.
I don't. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think like I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like that'd be interesting to kind of have not only like a musical but a horror romance, almost
Mm-hmm.
like some Romeo and Juliet type of shit, but it's just really emotional.
Right.
I can't say like there has been a movie that really made me like emotional. It's just like damn that hit the heartstrings. Like not on the top of my head, like I said, but
Yeah,
that's
because
that's
I
good.
remember the first time I saw The Fly, and like the saddest moment where when he merged with the telepod, and he was crawling on his hands and knees and stuff, and he took the because Gina Davis was holding the shotgun, and he took the
Mhm.
barrel of the shotgun and put it to his head, and then that
Yeah,
music kicked in, and you're like, and everybody watches that movie, they're like, oh no, he's suffering, oh no, he wants to die, and it was some sad shit. And of
mm.
course, she had to blow his brains out, man. That was some sad shit, man.
Yeah, Corpse Bride. That's a good one. Stop motion
Yeah,
movie and whatnot. Nightmare Before Christmas. I can see people getting emotional during Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know if it'd be like happy tears or just nostalgic tears or something like that.
right.
Just feeling
Um,
overjoyed by listening to the music, and that has really good music too.
yeah, yeah.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Yeah, that's definitely a very notable
And for years,
piece.
I always thought Tim Burton directed that. I didn't know that he didn't direct. Well, I didn't find that
Yeah,
out
it
until
has
like
it has
recently.
it kind of has this DNA on it and whatnot.
Right. Uh, shit. Come to think about it, look,
Court.
my Avatar there, Blackula had a damn tragic ass sad ending. If you remember, if you seen
Mm,
Blackula,
I would like to see a remake. That could be remade.
Blackula, yeah. Not the
Have a
sequel,
more
the
serious.
original. Yeah, nah, don't do the sequel. If you ever seen Scream, Blackula Scream, that's probably one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, but that's dope. Now that I think about it, it's just like yeah, there should be more. That's another thing that should be more of a thing. Like have more strong romance,
Hmm.
performances and stuff. Like write
Right.
a tragic love story in a horror movie or something like that. That'd be dope.
Shit, I watched the movie. Actually, I watched the movie last night. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called the Rejuvenator.
Sounds familiar.
So basically, so that movie that's about to come out, The Substance.
Okay.
So I don't want to say it's a remake of The Rejuvenator, but it has the same exact plot. So it's about this aging actress who she's losing her looks and she's not really getting parts in Hollywood anymore. So this doctor offers her a cure for her problem to turn her back young again. But what it does is
Mm-hmm.
it mutates her and turns her into this like fucking grotesque creature.
Mm.
And of course, like as she mutates, the more she mutates, the more she starts losing her mind. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of has it's tragic because by the end you see this monster, but you can tell like she's still in it, like she is still that person, but now she has to die because she's all fucked up. And I'm like, damn, that sounds a lot like the
Would
Substance.
you? It's like Phantom of the Opera. Isn't that considered romance?
I've never seen the OG. The only Phantom of the Opera I've seen was the one with Freddie with Robert England. That's the only one I remember seeing.
Yeah, that was a darker take on it. I can see them
Yeah,
remaking that as well. It's been a minute since you could do a lot of interesting things, but yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
pretty much
check
all
that
I
out.
got for tonight. I kind of won't go too long. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the rest of your night off. You know what I'm saying? That's the only two things I really had to talk about is Speaking of Evil
Hmm.
and just all these different kind of theme songs. But let me know in the comments below how y'all feel about what was discussed in this episode. Rashad, what you got coming next?
Well, I just dropped a review tonight for Transformers One, so it's a non-spoiler review. So y'all feel free to check that out. And next week, I'm going to be collaborating with Blacktastic Media. We're going to be covering. We're doing a versus video, the Five Heartbeats versus the Temptations, the
Mm,
movies. So look out for that video next week. And that's all I got for right now.
well, I know I would pick Five Heartbeats. That's one of my favorite movies of all time,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
for sure, for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely go check that out.
Only reason I'm doing that because I've had a few people come at me aggressively, like, man, you crazy, man. The Five Heartbeats is based off the Temptations, nigga. Learn your history. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but I'm saying as far as a film goes, no, man, I don't care, man. No, the movie's better too. Okay, so now we have to do a versus breaking it down so I can finally shut people up. You know.
Yeah, that should be interesting. Definitely tune in today. I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Appreciate you as always coming through another week. Episode 5 is next Saturday, same time.
Yep.
For right now, and the subject of that is the coming of age horror kind of theme. May change or may not. I'm thinking of different things for that specific episode. But until next time, I appreciate people pulling up live or on the replay. I
Oh,
will see y'all next.
real quick. Can I,
Go
can I
ahead.
just respond to Baby Toshira real quick? And she
Yeah.
said, "I feel like the Aging Star Heart." Yeah, yeah. Check it out. It's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube for free. It's called The Rejuvenator. It was made back in '88, and
Okay.
only reason I never watched that movie was because I was a coward. So when I went to the video store, I went to the horror section and I saw the box art for that movie. Like if you like even Google the box art, you'd be like, "Oh shit, that looks kind of creepy." And I was always scared to rent it, but I finally watched it last night for the first time with some liquid courage, and yeah, I can see why I skipped that shit as a kid.
Word, word. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Tubi, you know what I'm saying? We having some uncut some some gems on there as well. But like I
Right.
said, I will see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.